Hello, boozers, and welcome. Well, here we are. And I said I would go live when I heard about the news. Unfortunately, they released the news while I was sleeping. So that didn't quite happen so well. However, we are going to be looking at, well, an acquisition that I didn't think would happen, but here we are. Plain and simple. Am I happy about this? Eh, I'm okay with this, I guess. But in all honesty, I don't see a major problem with this. But if you're here, join me in chat. Let's talk. Let's see what's going on, shall we? All right. So, yes, it is official. It is absolutely official that Sleeman now owns Wild Rose Brewing. And again, I don't know how to feel about this, but we're here. That's pretty much how it is. Let's look into this, shall we? And I'm just drinking some tea this morning. It's way too early for beer. I know, I know, I know, I know. It's way too early for beer, especially after news like this. So, May 10th, 2019, which is today, Wild Rose Brewery, Wild Rose, is pleased to officially announce that it has been acquired by Sleeman Breweries Limited. The sale was approved yesterday by Wild Rose shareholders and marks the beginning of a partnership between the two organizations, which will allow both parties to strategically leverage their strengths and and complementary portfolios as they continue to accelerate their growth in Alberta. The deal will be finalized on May 31st, 2019. Let me just continue here. In a second. Crap. Just lost the page. Sorry. Since it was established by two local entrepreneurs in 1996, Wild Rose has made a name for itself by brewing exciting beer made by Albertans for Albertans. Over the years, the business has expanded operations from its humble beginnings in a garage in its current 40,000 square foot Calgary brewing facility to its current 40,000 square foot Calgary brewing facility. Wild Rose now produces a number of different brands and styles in bottles, cans, and kegs available to beer lovers in pubs, restaurants, and liquor outlets across Alberta. In addition to the brewery, Wild Rose also operates a tap room where consumers can experience its finely crafted beers, including signature crowd pleasers like Velvet Fog, Raspberry Ale, and enjoying a variety of good food offerings. I will get into that in just a bit because I have been there, so I will give my thoughts on that. We know this partnership will bring a wealth of opportunities for us to succeed together as we move forward with the support of Sleeman's Resources and Industry Insights, said Bill McKenzie, CEO at Wild Rose Brewing. We feel there's a strong connection between the way we've crafted our culture and the way Sleeman does business, and we are excited about our new joint vision for taking the growth of Wild Rose to the next level. This is not the first acquisition for the company founded by John Sleeman in 1988. Yes, I know this. Sleeman began a small craft brewery, has since grown exponentially in part throughout the purchase of small local craft breweries. Sleeman's success has also been fueled by strategic industry partnerships that have been established over time, allowing the organization to invest with confidence with companies like Wild Rose. Sleeman's acquisition strategy has been to seek partners with similar values, portfolios that are that are complementary, and facilities that support growth expectations. Having met this criteria, Wild Rose is now well positioned to continue accelerated expansion as a new organization. We'll get into that in a second. We recognize that Alberta is a province with high growth potential and see a number of synergies between Wild Rose and Sleeman that make this partnership extremely exciting for both organizations, says Jesse, President and CEO of Sleeman Breweries. Not only do our business share a passion for craft beer, but we also share a drive to achieve industry excellence while maintaining a winning organizational culture. We look forward to working closely with Wild Rose team to ensure both they and Sleeman are able to reap the many benefits of this strategic partnership. For more information about Wild Rose Brewing, and about Wild Rose and about Sleeman, they just give small little blurbs. So we're going to break this down a little bit more, shall we? First of all, is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? My thoughts? It's good and bad. It's good in the retrospect that this means that Wild Rose can grow. It's bad in the retrospect that Wild Rose can grow, but Alberta won't see that money. They will see a portion of it, but they won't see all of it. Because the fact that Sleeman now owns it and they're out of Ontario, it means that Ontario starts to reap the benefits of it, which also means that Sapporo, who owns Sleeman, reaps the benefit as well, meaning that they're a third tier organization alongside these other ones that they've bought that gain a little bit but also lose a lot. But they also in turn gain a little bit more in the way of extra funding for going out of the province, extra funding for their equipment, extra funding for what they need to have. But at the same point in time, it also means they might go down in their product quality. They didn't say anything about changing their product quality yet, but there probably will be some changes in their product and their product quality because they need to turn over their beers faster to get a bigger expansion of product out to different areas. So this is going to be a little bit of a catch-22 possibly. I hope to God I'm wrong, but there's a lot of things that are not looking good about this. Now, I understand that these guys would probably tell me, no, you're absolutely incorrect. Their quality isn't going to change. But at the same point in time, it isn't. Are you sure about that? Because what's in the details of that contract? What is seriously in the contract details? Is it something that can be good? Is it something that can be bad? I don't know. Um, it's a little. It's wild. It, yeah, I punned it. I punned it. It's a little different. It's a little odd, and I don't think. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know how this is really going to affect their overall end product because now they can bring stuff into Ontario, they can bring stuff into BC, and they can bring stuff across Canada. So Saskatchewan will probably reap the benefits. Manitoba probably would too. Um, at the same point in time, where they can also drag it. They could drag it. They could bring it down the states because Sleeman has stuff down the states too. So, I mean, the the other breweries that they've had haven't really been bad, in all honesty. Um, it might bring them to the next level. So let's look at all the expansions with acquisitions that Sleeman's done. 1996, the Sleeman Brewery Company purchased the Okanagan Springs Brewery, and the consortium formed the new Sleeman Breweries Limited, which means Sleeman's has a brewery slash factory, let's call it, in the Okanagan, specifically in Vernon, BC. I've been by this place a couple of times, and it was looking run down like 3 years ago. Apparently, they did a big retrofit to make it look a little bit better, but it took a while. It took a long while for it to actually come around to actually look a little bit better. This is 1996. I'm talking about 2015. 2016. They started to look at retrofitting it a little bit better because it was looking run down. It took them that long. It took them almost 30 years, 20 years, 20 years. Sorry, to really retrofit it properly again. They let it go. They just sort of went whatever. In 1998, the company acquired Upper Canada Brewing and Quebec's Brasserie Cigarette Incorporated. So I've never really heard or seen any of their beers here. Um, Start from the beginning. No, I'm not starting from the beginning. Not doing it. But here, you get to read while I'm talking. I'll drop this in here. Sorry, I'm just going to the comments for a second. Come on. There we go. There, it's on their splash page. So yeah, Sleeman also purchased Shaftesbury Brewing Company, a large microbrewery in Delta, BC in 1999. So now they have two areas in BC. They have a micro and a macro. And then in 1999, Sleeman also purchased the Canadian rights to brew and distribute the American Straw Brew, the Stroh Brewery Company's portfolio of brands, including Stroh, Past Blue Ribbon, Old Milwaukee, Rainier, and others for $39 million. So they've got the bigger ones as well. So they've got the bigger crap beers, as we call them. So yeah, there's that. And then in 2000, Sleeman bought Maritime Beer Company, a small bankrupt brewer in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So now they've got little hands all over Canada, except in the middle. In 2002, the company purchased the rights to distribute products of the Dutch Grolsch Brewery in Canada. And now they own another big macro brewery. So, how are we looking right now? Pretty scary, isn't it? The next acquisition in 2004 was Unibroue, Quebec's largest craft brewer that was making a line of premium beers in Chambly, Quebec. Now, I started drinking craft beer 7 years ago. And in all honesty, it was good. It was decent. And they brought the stuff into Alberta. It helped them expand. So here's the thing is having them expand is actually a rather good thing. It can help them expand and bring out their portfolio to other places in Canada. I've got a friend that's in Saskatchewan that loves Wild Rose, and whenever he's here, that's the stop we have to make is going to Wild Rose. So him having his Velvet Fog in Saskatchewan would be a big thing. And with Sobeys out there, Sobeys actually does have some of the portfolio for Wild Rose here, so they can expand out there, which means more beer being brought into other provinces, which probably will not be happening right away. Probably take a few months. Yes, Wild Rose sold out. They sold out to Sleeman's. That's pretty much the gist of it. So right now, as it stands, Sleeman's owns one big brewery, 1 to 2 big breweries in 1, 2, 3, 4 provinces right now. So BC, Ontario, Nova Scotia, Quebec, and now Alberta. So 5. 5 of them. I could see them going after Bridge Brewing possibly in Saskatchewan and possibly even Torque if they really wanted to, just to expand their horizons, just to hit some of the other 2 places in Canada. So watch for Big Bridge and Torque. Could it happen? Not if the guys don't want it to, understandably. But there's a possibility that it could very well happen. I would love not to say that's going to be happening, but these two possibly. I mean, look around you. They're actually hitting one brewery, at least one brewery per province. And this has kind of been the trend since 1996. So over a span of a decade. And now took them 15 years later, Wild Rose is now part of theirs. So they might be looking at doing more. Who knows? It's yeah. I mean, in 2006, Sapporo Breweries purchased Sleeman for approximately $400 million. So they had one of the bigger guys, so they can actually do more. So 2006 to 2019 now, 13 years, they've been sort of, yeah. I mean, 2014, Shaftesbury Brewing Company is sold to Fireweed Brewing Company. So basically, they don't own Shaftesbury anymore out in Delta, which is fine. But they still own the Okanagan Springs. So they still have one still there. So they could afford to get rid of one. It's wild. It really is wild. Wait, what are you drinking right now? Tea. I'm having tea. Unfortunately, I have to drive in a little bit here, so I'm having tea for now until this afternoon, where I'm going to be drinking heavily. So yeah, I I'm not sure how I feel about this. Um, I mean, brewery currently produces a line of beers under the Sleeman name: Cream Ale, Original Draft, Honey Brown Lager, Silver Creek Lager. All these are the Sleeman names, but also they have everything else too. They didn't disclose how much they bought it for. I'm waiting to hear how much it was bought for, because every single one of these usually tells you how much it was bought for. Um, Wild Rose has done a solid job in keeping their Curry Barracks location active, and have a big 400, was it 400,000? Um, where are we here? Sorry, going through all my notes here. 40,000 square foot location. So yeah, it's pretty much, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot happening, and I don't think I like it. I'm hoping I'm wrong, that none of these recipes that Wild Rose has changes, so that they can bring out a bigger quantity of beer to a bigger area. I hope that they don't start mass producing in the Okanagan, so that they can bring stuff into BC quicker. I hope they don't start mass producing in Alberta, so they can bring things across the board sooner and quicker. I mean, it's it's gonna be a little scary. Um, uh, no, that's not what I was looking for. Sorry, I was looking for Okanagan Springs Brewing. It's not showing up in Wiki. Sorry, give me a second here. Yeah, it's not showing up. Just shows up from Sleeman. Sleeman Brewing and Malting Company. So that also means that they might be able to get their malts from Sleeman too, which means it's going to take a hit. Hey, Rod J, how you doing? Just going with what the news is today out of Alberta, is that Sleeman bought out one of our major breweries up here. It is official as of today. So, But yeah, I feel that if their malting is subpar, then they take it to Wild Rose. Wild Rose uses it because they might have to, part of their contract to use it. That could change their recipe right there. Wild Rose has been known to use a lot of their local products, and they might not be now. There's going to be some changes in Wild Rose. There really is. It's not going to be a pretty change. People will or will not like it. Some people say it's not going to be different, and that's fair of them to say that it's not going to be different. They're not going to change their style or anything. But I haven't heard anything saying that they're not going to change their recipe. I haven't heard anything saying that they're not going to start mass producing, so they have to change their recipe. And I haven't really heard anything saying that it's not going to be a bad thing for Alberta. It's going to be a good thing because Alberta reaps more rewards, because that's not the case either. It's all these things that are coming down to this. It's not a good deal. Um, it's a good deal for the smaller craft breweries, because that means more people are going to be turned to go to the craft breweries versus going to Wild Rose. And like I said, I've been to the Wild Rose location before a couple of times. The tap house slash restaurant in Curry Barracks. It's not bad. Like, the food is decent. You got some really good cuisine there. Um, they've got and it's decent food that really is not bad. Their lineup of beer is good. Um, I've had hit and misses beers from Wild Rose. I love the High Harvest. The High Harvest is a great IPA made with hemp seed. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. The Velvet Fog wheat ale is really damn good. It's really decent for what it is. Um, I had their cherry porter, and I was actually disappointed with that because it was a sour. It was a tart beer, and they didn't say it was a tart beer. They said, "Oh," after I sat there and said, "Oh man, this thing's tart. I don't like this." I expected a sweetness of cherries in a porter where you have a little bit of a roasted malt, but it's a sour. It's sort of like a sour dark beer. Like, oh, that's what the way it's supposed to be. That's not how it was explained. It said cherry porter. Didn't say cherry sour porter. Didn't say sour cherry porter. It said cherry porter. So it was a little misleading on that. And I mean, I've had a lot of different beers from them, and I've hung out with them. I got invited to events with them when there was one other person there a few years ago, and they all of a sudden stopped communication with me, which was odd. But I've been way too busy to do anything, anyways. Um, I've been pretty much. I've actually seen the Grey Cup there, the CFL Championship Cup there, and I've hung out with some of the Stampeders that won the cup that year, and got my picture with the Grey Cup, which was awesome. I mean, that's kind of cool. Like, I have some good memories of this place. I got a couple of friends that got married there because they loved Wild Rose, and so this is kind of it's bugging them a little bit because of the fact that they are they really do enjoy hanging out there. But unfortunately, this might change their thoughts on it because they don't want to have something big like this happen. Granted, people are saying it's not going to change that much, as I've said before, but I can't guarantee that myself. I can't say that it is, and I can't say that it isn't. I'm an objective person. I'm a realist in a way. This is going to be something that is going to take time. This is going to be something that there will be some changes. I mean, I might even just do a tour of their brewery in, let's say, a couple of weeks, and then do another one in 6 months, just to see what kind of changes have been made. I don't see a problem with this. They may not allow it now that they know my master plan, but there might be changes in the malts. There might be changes in everything else. They usually have the malts out and on display. They usually have the grains out on display and everything else. So I can take pictures of all that and then come back in 6 months, take more pictures and see how it's changed, what malts have changed, what grains have changed. And I hate when it does that. There we go. And just to see what overall is different. I don't. This is the first acquisition, like I said, that has happened in Alberta. This is the first big one that has happened in Alberta. I thought someone like Two Sergeants would be bought out first before Wild Rose. Two Sergeants is hit and miss, and they're having issues, but they're not explaining it. But they're having issues right now. So for them to be bought out would be the biggest advantage for them, but they're not. Um, in all honesty, there's a lot that's going to come down to this. Congratulations to them. Don't get me wrong. I feel that this is a very strategic move. A very, as they said in that thing, a strategic move. And I feel that that's the case. It is a strategic move. But the fine print that none of us get to see is what we get to taste later on. That's where we're going to probably hear about things or see about things. I mean, Okanagan Springs was bought before the big major um, boom of craft beer. So was Unibrow. So we don't know how it changed over the years. We don't know how that's affected anything. This is the first one really where they've been bought out, where there's been a huge boom in craft beer. So we get to actually see for ourselves, aside from Mill Street. But I mean, Mill Street, they really haven't changed, but they're Labatt's too. They're not Sleeman's. And also Stanley Park. But this is the first Alberta one that has been bought out. So we get to see how that changes for us, how that affects their brewery, and how it affects our bottom line, Alberta's bottom line. Because we might see less money from them. We might see less malts being purchased or grains being purchased from Alberta because of this, because of Wild Rose. It's just minuscule, really minuscule in the grand scheme of things. But that little blip can cause a very big ripple if it really has some big issues going on. So again, we'll see. We still have two big major breweries in Alberta that are doing really well. Big Rock did the ultimate thing, and they expanded their breweries by going into Vancouver and Ontario. But they didn't buy out anybody. They just built breweries there. So they have their portfolios in the West and the East. So they've got bigger income coming into Alberta and also those provinces as well. And then you have basically Village, which is your friendly neighborhood brewery. And they still are going strong with a lot of things. They've done a lot of good things for the for the Alberta, for Calgary and Alberta. And I have total respect for them. Right now, their series of Village Friend, where they go and help out one of their friends, one of the breweries, by doing a collab with them, and half the money goes to that brewery and half of it goes to Village, is one of the best things I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody else do that. So Village is, they're rocking it. But yeah, Wild Rose, that's an interesting takeover. That is really an interesting takeover. And again, I guess time will tell to find out what's going on. So, folks, I'm going to get going here because there's a lot of things that I need to do, like get myself more tea. I'm out. Can't drink for a little bit. So, caffeine, why not? But overall, what are your thoughts? Do you think this is a good or bad investment for Wild Rose? For me, it's good and bad, but I'm more hesitant on the bad side. I'm more hesitant on the good side and a little bit more on the bad side. I like to see where this goes. Give it 2 years to see where it goes. But I really want to see what happens over the next 6 months to find out how things have changed. It'd be quite interesting. I'll be keeping an eye on this and I'll be reporting back as much as I can because this is one that I feel is going to change a few things around here. Till next time, folks, I am PK saying cheers, stay frosty. Thanks again for joining, and we will see you real soon. Real soon? Real soon? Real soon. Gotta love those live broadcasts. And I'm going to drop one of my reviews probably in about half an hour here. I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday, so I'll do it today. So watch for one of my new reviews. Well, older reviews. I'm playing catch up here. I am going to say there is one review coming out in the next week that is a little bit of it's good, but it was my last series in the fuck cancer thing. And I kept the last part in it because I felt strongly about it, and I'm sorry if it triggers anyone or if it upsets anyone, but it was my thoughts of what happened. So, and it's nothing bad. It's just you'll see some raw emotions come out of that video. So until next time, folks, thanks again for joining, and you have you have yourselves a wonderful day. Cheers.